go to Mark in Millbrae. Hey, Mark, what's going on? You're on with FP. What's up?
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
How are you?
Pretty good. To me, I felt like I love Jordan Poole for what he helped the Warriors win the title and everything he did. But to me, I just felt like they needed to move on from him. I don't think the punch had so much to do with it, even though that factored into it. I just felt like a lot of times being at games, Curry, and he loves everybody. I see how annoyed he would be because Poole would go out of the team's offense and do whatever he free ball, and he would consistently do that. Clay, it felt like he wears his welcome out, and I think the organization did what was best. And now you're seeing it's even worse now on an awful franchise like Washington, who is not close to being a title team. They can't stand him already. He's only been there a couple of months. So to me, I think Jordan Poole's role, if he recognizes it as being a sixth man, would be perfect. But he thinks himself as a superstar number one, and that's why he is. To me, I think he's a perfect guy as a sixth, seventh man. You got a bunch of injuries and you need a guy to come in and give you a walking bucket, he can do that for you. But he doesn't think himself as a Curry type. And that's why I think a lot of guys are just agitated to welcome. And I think Washington's already regretting that trade. So they'll give him an ovation tomorrow night, deservedly so. But I just don't think JP recognizes who he is in this league, and I don't think he ever will. Those are just my thoughts.
Mark, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, would you boo him or cheer him tomorrow night if you were at the game?
I'm going to give him. A nice round of applause. You got to recognize what he did. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people there boo him at Chase tomorrow night.
I would be. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. I don't think we're going to get that, are we?
So, Wes, nobody boos.
Yeah.
Nobody boos. You got to really earn your boo. I mean, I did an hour on that one night on East Coast versus West Coast, and Giants fans don't boo. Niners fans, your own team I'm talking about.
Did you get booed when you came back as a Dodger?
I got booed as a Dodger in Dodger Stadium. I did. I promise you. And that's when I'm like, I'm over this place. You guys can all go F yourselves. I'm done with this place.
Let's go.
It's not
Dodger dogs suck. Just want to say that. They do. They're totally overrated.
Yeah, I got booed.
That's funny. Yeah, there's only one thing other than a Dodger that I think here in the Bay Area you can freely boo. And that is the wave.
Yeah.
When we do the wave, you boo the people who are doing the wave because those people don't know what they're doing.
Who does the wave?
There are people. I did a whole show about that. I went on a vacation, and there was a game, and I was watching from wherever the hell I was. I think I went to Yosemite or whatever, and over at Oracle, they're doing the wave. Now, the Giants were in a losing streak or whatever the hell was going on. I don't know. But I did a whole show where I came back. I go, I leave here for 4 days, and you people, what is happening? And everybody, a lot of people don't understand sort of the joke behind it, which is you'll get the serious responses oh, fuddy-duddy. You got a problem with what other people do with paying tickets they should be able to do. Yes, of course, I'm not advocating someone being thrown out, and I'm not anti-fun. But, I do get triggered by it because the wave to me signifies that you're bored. And I know that some Giants fans are like we are.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I'd say most Giants fans would tell you that now.
But that's now. This was back when they were in the midst of winning 107 games. It's to me, it just signifies that I don't know, you're not in to what's going on. You got people out there who are playing baseball, and you're not even going to give them the respect of watching what they're doing. Instead, you're doing the wave. It's not our thing. It's just not our thing.
Are you a booer guy? Have you ever booed your own team?
No.
Or a player on your own team as a fan?
No. Won't do it.
Yeah, I won't either.
I actually had I don't want to bring everybody down, but you'll remember this. Some of our listeners won't, but the Donnie Moore thing, I made an agreement with myself as a kid. I'm like, I will never boo the players on my team. Because quite frankly, I sort of looked at it almost even as a strategic competitive thing as a fan. There's only I don't know, we don't have an effect on a game other than right? The energy you can create in a building. And I'm like, if you're rooting for your team to do well, then why would you behave in a way that's probably going to make whatever they're doing even worse? when you get booed, does it motivate you to do well?
No, dude, it hurts.
Or does it take? Yeah, it takes your mentality away.
You know what we don't think of, Mark? I've talked to Giants players about this, and they'll go in their locker after a game, and they'll have a tough game, and they read the comments on their Instagram. Yeah. This is something I didn't have to go through, and they said it is awful. The things that Giants fans say to Giants players if they have a bad game. They're like, we all talk about it. Like, we'll go on the comments below, like, whatever, if I post something or there's a picture of me on Instagram, and it's like, you gave up 4 runs tonight, you suck, go kill you. I mean, terrible stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, awful stuff. And I joked about being booed as a Dodger at Dodger Stadium, and that, at the time, that crushed me, man. I would go home, almost be in tears, like, I suck, I hate it here, these people suck, I suck, what am I doing here? You know, it's hard when you're own fans. And if you're on the road and they boo you, that means you're good.
That means you're good.
It means you're really good.
Respect, right?
That fires you up. But when your own fans boo you, man, that sucks. And I like the West Coast vibe. I know in Philadelphia this year when Trey Turner was struggling and they all gave him that standing O, and he was walking in the box and he just kind of looked around and the season took off after that. That right there, that instance shows you how much power fans have toward us as players.
I don't even know how that happened in Philadelphia.
It was just organic. But all of a sudden.
That's so not them.
Yeah.
It's so not them.
And he was going home every night before that. And I can't imagine how he felt. Obviously, people say, well, he's making $40 million a year. That's great, but that doesn't help your feelings at night. So, I mean, baseball players and athletes are real people, man. There's real people in those uniforms. So, yeah, I get what I was told, like, if a fan boos you, it's a cheer turned inside out, right? They're ready to cheer for you, and then you screw up, and they're like, yeah, boo.
They're disappointed.
So, yeah, but if it's consistent, like if Jordan Poole gets booed tomorrow night, which he won't, I'll bet you a lot of money he won't.
I agree.
That's not cool. He won't take that well. He'll be like, whatever. But like when he gets home and he calls his folks or whatever, he's going to be like, that sucked, man. I want a championship for those guys.
Seriously. I'm even just trying to think, and I'm not. I like, we do what we do for a living. You go to enough games that you sort of lose the fire to. I don't go to games and heckle people. I don't go to games and there's only one game I can think of even in recent memory where I really lost my S, and in a good way. And it was the Patrick Bailey walk-off homer last year. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
Line drive down the line.
Yeah.
But it was for different reasons. My son had gone to Giants camp last year, and these were the tickets that you get that come with Giants camp. So he's there with all of his buddies, and we cruised around and just had the greatest day at this game. And the Giants were also on a losing streak, and I was just like, I wanted this game for him. Like he wanted it. He had a full uniform on, and we're watching the game, and the Giants kind of had it.
And they choked.
And then they choked it. Yeah. And they blew it. And I was so bummed for him. And when Bailey hit that thing out down the left field line, I almost fainted. Like I was jumping up and down so high. I'm like, I must have looked like an absolute buffoon. But I almost fainted. I was so happy for him and for the losing streak was over. But I don't usually do that. But I'm trying to think of how I am going to react tomorrow night. It probably just,
you clap.
Yeah, but I'm not getting out of my seat and going crazy in a good way either. Just being honest.
I think most people will because you get caught up in the moment, right? Okay. It's not just going to be welcome back, Jordan Poole. It's going to be music and a highlight video, and they're going to pump it all up. It's going to be a crescendo, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, you're going to get caught up in the moment, and everyone's going to chear.
You might be right.
Yeah, it's a show. It's the show. Well, it's going to be a show.
I'll let my boys. Both my sons will be there as well. My lady and her daughters, and we're all going to be there. Thank you, Mark Grandy. I'll let them lead the way. I'm curious. I don't know how my sons will react.
Just driving over there, you're like, kids, we're going to boo Jordan Poole tonight. And when we get out of this car and we get to Chase Center, I want boos out of both. That's like if you were in Philadelphia, that's how they drive to the game in Philadelphia.
You want popcorn?
New York?
You listen to me right now.
You boo this MFer.
Evan in Oakland. You're on Willard and FP. Hey, Evan, what you doing?
Hey, I just wanted to say, Jordan Poole contract, the worst thing Bob Myers did in his tenure.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Evan.
basketball.
But Evan, think about no. I'll let you finish. But
Some would say the Draymond contract.
no, like if you don't give him that contract, Evan, you don't get anything for him at all. He just leaves.
Well, I don't think you had to give him all that money.
Maybe you're right.
He's an awful basketball player. He can
I
play
don't know.
basketball, but he's an awful basketball player, and he's an awful teammate.
Would you boo him tomorrow night if you're at the game, or you cheer him?
I'm either silent or I boo.
Wow. Let's keep track. That's one cheer and one boo. I want to hear.
Yeah,
That's 50-50. I mean, it's like two, though.
Evan, thanks. He's an awful basketball player.
Terrible.
Well, no, I'm
kidding.
processing that sentence. What do you think?
I think he had a bad year last year because he got caught up in the contract and success hit him at 22 years old and he couldn't handle it. And then he got smoked to start the year. No championship season ever started with one teammate smoking another teammate. It just doesn't happen. It may be during the year, but not in camp. Very rarely, if ever. I think he just I got it all figured out. And sports has a way of humbling you. And it humbled him last year. And then once you get into that rut of over-trying, maybe doing things that you didn't do in years before because you have the contract and taking the deep breath, and you're chasing that all season long, it just snowballs and gets worse. He's had a bad year.
Yeah, I look at it this way. I don't think he's a very talented player. I don't think he's a winning basketball player.
That's great.
Which is an odd thing to say for a guy who helped them win a championship. But it's funny. I was listening to Bonte. It was either yesterday or this morning, and he was saying a lot of people. I think it was yesterday when they were talking to Slater, and he goes, a lot of people misremember what he did in the playoffs 2 years ago, and I thought to myself, no, I remember it perfectly. And it was a mixed bag. It wasn't all bad, but it wasn't all good either. He did get benched in the Boston series. Moody did have to come in and spell him. And what I repeatedly, now he also had some good games and some good series, especially early. But I look at that as a hidden negative, which is as the stage grew, he shrunk. Each round, he got worse. And that was an indicator. And at the time, you're like, oh, he's 21. Yeah. We're fine, right? He's got to learn. These are the bumps, all of that. But I think it ended up being a thing, which is to say we've watched Jordan Poole in the NBA many times before. He used to be called Steve Francis. He used to be called Russell Westbrook, post-MVP. There's these players who it's like, sure, you're crazy, offensive, talented, but you're not playing within a team concept that's actually going to work and lead to winning basketball. And I think that's what you're also seeing now in Washington. 17.4 points per game, 32% from three, 41% overall. These are bad numbers.
Well, you knew he was going to get his shots. I mean, that's the first thing we said when he got traded to the Wizards. He's going to get his shots. You touched on something that I could do a whole show on. And what is a winning player? People just throw those terms around like, what is a winning? Well, he's a winning player. He's not a winning player. What does that mean?
Team concept.
I could go on and on and on about that because I feel like I know what that means. But in today's world of professional sports, it's not coveted like it used to be.
Well, you mentioned the 49ers. Those wide receivers, those are winning players.
Because
they're incredibly talented, but when they only get 2 catches in that particular game, they are dogs blocking for their teammates, and they don't care. When Debo scores 7 touchdowns in a 3-game span, Ayuk is sliding into the end zone next to him celebrating. They are doing everything they can for each other and within the game plan.
They find a way to beat your ass.
Yes.
No matter what it is. And they don't care who gets the credit. And you check your ego at the door.